Good morning, all, and happy Sunday. Looks like a fine sunny day coming up. I wanted to make this little video just to go through a few things. We're dealing with Volatility Master in this video. I know a lot of people don't manage to get on our Sunday night Zooms, but if you can, do so, because you do learn quite a lot and get things running a lot smoothly. It's not really any surprise that the people that are doing the best are the ones that tune into the Sunday Zooms. Not just getting information from me, but just finding out how others are going and learning little bits and pieces here and there. Another thing too is I think everybody should make sure they actually subscribe and click that little bell icon on my YouTube channel so that you do get a notification and you do know when I add a new video to our Volatility Master playlist, because I only add videos to that playlist that are important, that people need to know about Volatility Master. So it's, you don't want to be missing out on them. But anyway, let me share my screen and we'll get into this. I'm going to go through September's results using the backtester because I want to show you the results you should have had if you'd used the right settings the right way and not played during the course of the month. I know myself personally. Hang on, I'm going to do AED-JPY first, but I've got something to tell you about my own results on pound US when we get to it. My own results on pound US won't be as good as what the backtester shows, and that's simply because I played with the trades during the course of the month. It's hard not to play with trades. It's hard. What I mean by that is it's hard not to just let the software do its thing all the time, no matter what's going on. And I'm not saying don't tweak and have a bit of manual oversight going on, because I think that's always handy, but it's going to depend on your trading skill levels. I don't think my trading skill levels are too bad, but sometimes my manual oversight makes things better, sometimes not so much. But all right, so there was a question I saw during the week as well. I think it was from you, Graham, about how do you get more than 2 months or 2 weeks worth of historical data to backtest on. You simply need to just click function 2. There we go. Function 2, and it'll bring up the history setup. And then you just need to find the particular pair that we're looking at. And I'm just doing AED-JPY at the moment. If you click on that, it'll bring up all the different time frames. And as long as I'm pretty sure as long as you have downloaded all the 1 minute data, it should pretty much give you everything. But if you want to just make sure, you can also bring in the 5 minute data. So you just click on that one and click download. And this is just telling you that it's normally all the historical data will be, in this case, from Pepperstone. But that'll depend on how long you've had the platform opened and everything. But when you download the data, you're getting historical data from MetaQuotes themselves. So there can be slight differences between, there's always slight differences between brokers. But yeah, just click OK and it'll download the latest. Now that won't always mean you have years and years worth of uninterrupted data. Most of the Forex pairs, especially the major Forex pairs, you will get really good uninterrupted data for years worth. Um, Other things like indices and that can be a little sporadic still. Alrighty, so we're going to backtest Volatility Master and AED-JPY just for November. These are the settings I'm using. Now, these settings should all be very much similar to the AED-JPY set file that I put into our chat group, except for the time settings. I've started using slightly different, or quite different time settings, starting earlier and finishing earlier. I've back tested this and it does work out quite nicely. There's two reasons for the changes. One is because it's an AUD yen pair, which is, AUD yen is in the Asian time zone, Asian session. So starting earlier does work out quite well. I would never start trading any pairs much earlier than this, perhaps 60, but never any earlier than that, because that first hour of the market open has excessive spreads and simply nobody that knows what they're doing about trading would place a trade during that time period because it makes it impossible to make money. Very easy to lose money because the spreads are excessive, sometimes hugely excessive, and it just takes any potential profit right out of the trade as soon as you open it. And the 420 end time, because I'm trading 4 different pairs now, I just wanted, and this still is backed up by back testing, but I wanted to have this pair start early and finish early so that I don't have too many different pairs open at the same time, just to distribute and reduce my risk throughout the course of the day. Other than that, these settings are going to be all the same as a set file. So my initial trades on the 5-minute breakout, stack trades on the 1 minute, and I'm using a 15-minute time frame trend filter. It's using my usual all day type settings where it has one losing trade for the day. So in this case, on this day, we had a losing trade. So that's going to be the only trade it takes this day. And then on the second day, it had a winning trade, a small win, and then a loss, and then a win all in one day, because at no stage did it actually get below its starting balance. Right here, we had one losing trade that day, another losing trade the next day. So for 2 days in a row, we just had one losing trade. I like to use back testing to demonstrate the profits you should have had, I guess. Because if I just show you my actual results, or anybody shows you their actual results, you don't really know whether those actual results have been 100% generated from the software. You may have closed a couple of trades early. I mean, even if you don't take out any actual manual trades, you might see a trade in pretty good profit, so you close it to lock in that profit. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but as soon as you do close a trade manually or move the stop loss manually or anything like that, then you've got away from purely volatility master trades, and it does change the results slightly. But anyway, that's the month of September, and it's on a 100K account. and we made $7,500. So we made 7.5% profit in September. I did publish my own results. Yeah. So my own results for September on AED yen was just a neat 7%. So this is slightly better than that. And also that's basically going to be because I would have changed something. I probably closed a couple of trades manually. So that's good results, and that's risking. Get back to the settings. That's risking 1% per trade, and having a daily pair max loss of 1.2. So as mentioned before, that 1.2 is simply because sometimes, depending on exactly where the stop loss goes and how neatly that's divisible by a lot size, you may be a little bit more than one. So if you only had one lot size up here, there could be, and then there would be circumstances where it wouldn't take out a trade because it didn't think there was enough leeway there. The ratios between your max loss and your profit goal is very, very important. Okay, a lot of my back testing goes into researching from back testing exactly what ratios work the best. All righty. So this one's mostly just set so that it only takes one losing trade straight up to stop it for the day. And then this one's back tested extensively to see, I'd like to have this figure as high as possible, but if you go too high, then it becomes unrealistic and that pair tends to not hit it, meaning then it retraces and you can take losses when you were in big profit. So this is back tested to come up the most. And the ratio on this particular pair is quite high. So that's good. Anyway, so that's that particular pair. We'll go through and we will have a look at pound US. And I'll load up the settings for pound US. So you see the ratio I have on this particular pair is much smaller. These are my time settings. I am looking at reducing the end time as well, just so that this one's finished, earlier in the night. I'm just not sure whether it's preferable to do that or not yet, so I'm still using those settings. So this one should be identical to the set file that I put in for you guys. And this one's, the initial trades working off the 15-minute breakout, stacked ones on 1 minute, and I'm not using a trend filter, so, quite different settings. The next, it doesn't matter, but the next update I do to the software will have a setting to close all settings. So it's going to close. You can set a time that it will close all the trades open on this pair. That can have several uses. One to, if you've got a red folder news event coming up, you can have that so it automatically closes out just prior to that news event. And also just closing out a trade, if one's looking like carrying over into the next day, you might want to have, that close all feature set just before the end of the trading day, so it closes out trades then. And with this low time frame intraday type trading, the spread when the market opens at the start of each morning can be enough to push it through and hit your stop loss. So sometimes, even if a trade's looking not too bad, that spread early in the morning can stop loss your trade and you take a loss. So sometimes it's preferable to get out of that trade just for that reason alone. All right, another little bit of info about back testing is right here you need to set the spread. You can set the current spread, but depending on when you're trading, um, that might not be preferable. You know, if you're like at the moment, it's the weekend, so the spreads um, are going to still be showing what they were at the end of trading on Friday, which right at the very end, sometimes the spreads can spike as well, so they wouldn't be correct. So you need to come over here into your market watch and find that particular pair, in this case AUD JPY, and pick um, check this spread sometime, like here in Queensland, check that spread around about midday when there are no AUD or yen red folder news events occurring. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but at the moment we're checking pound USD. And for example, normally pound USD, and every broker is going to be a bit different, but normally it's only 3, 4, or 5 points. But this is because it's a weekend, it's still showing higher. And the same as AUD yen, it's also showing higher than it normally is. So you need to pick a spread which is, a good representation of what that pair usually has. Um, but yeah, other than that, I will do that back testing and we'll see what we should have made for September. Should just about be there. There we go. So 6,900 profit, 6.9% profit. And this is the biggest difference between the back testing results and my actual results. My actual results for pound US for September was 3.6% profit. So only really half of what this is. And I put that down to the fact that because this is a GBP USD pair, you get a lot of red folder events that are going to affect it. So there would have been a lot of times when I closed trades early or didn't have it on for that time, due to me wanting to avoid the red folder events. And in this particular case, it's worked out that I made less by doing that. But I don't regret doing that because it is the safer way of trading. Sometimes it could work out in my favour. Alrighty, let's load up settings for US 30. These settings here. So these aren't the default settings. These are those new settings that I put the set file in the group without. A much closer take profit and a slightly closer trailing stop. Profit lock's still the same times. That's just the main differences there. And let me just change this a little bit because I've got these settings here because it's a 1% risk, but because on the US 30, as you know, I like to let it have 2 losing trades before it stops. What I have been doing though is I've been having this on 0.5, so just 0.5% risk per trade, so that I could have my max loss setting at just 1.1. I'll put in 1.2 just to make sure. So those are the settings I have mostly been using, just so I know. So I'm basing this all off. So all of my pairs are risking just over 1% per day. And in this particular case, that requires the actual risk per trade to be less. And so, you know, all the settings. So just for those that may not have watched all the videos on the settings, which you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't watch the settings, so you don't know, you know, you've got to watch the videos on the settings if you expect to do any good with it. These particular settings, so because this is a Pepperstone broker that I'm back testing on, all of the pip distances, all the point distances, the take profit, the trailing stop, the stop loss, the max stop, the ranges, all of those, the profit locks, and these settings here, the breakouts, support and resistance buffer, second peak preference and mitigation. These settings are all in points. So depending on your broker, they may need to be adjusted. Some brokers will require, like Pepperstone, I have it on 750. The default settings are 750, which suits most brokers. If you just jump to your chart and you just measure the distance, it'll be blindingly obvious which ones you need to use, because if you actually come up to the take profit points, and if you measure out 1,400 on your chart, measure out 1,400 points, it's either going to be an extremely small distance, obviously too small, meaning that you need to use 14,000, or if you measure 14,000 it's going to be obviously, very obviously, way too far, too big of a distance, meaning you need to use 1400. So it should be pretty obvious which you need to use, but yeah, just check with your broker if you're not sure. Sing out, and we'll make sure you got it working the right way. But yeah, so they're the settings. Initial and stack trades, all just based off the 1 minute, which is what I tend to do on basically all my pairs when I'm trading a volatile event, like a red folder event or the US 30 Open. And when I'm trading a red folder event, usually I won't use a trend filter either. Um, all right, so another thing I need to change is I need to increase the spread because the US 30 here has a much larger spread. Um, Also, because I reduced my risk percentage down to 0.5%, I'll also need to halve my profit goal so that all these ratios stay the same. I'm pretty sure I'm using 600 for my trailing stop loss. Anyway, we'll do that one. Other than that, those are all the same settings. I've now got it on US 30. Now, this one won't be the best, as we know that US 30 was not going very well that last month. But I think the first half of the month wasn't too bad. But then those last 2 weeks of September were just predominantly losses on the US 30. So let's see how it works out. That's about 4% profit at the moment. My own personal trading on US 30 for September. Um, I think I use default settings some of the time and those new settings some of the time. So my own results won't reflect any one particular lot of settings. My own results were just a little bit over 1% profit for the whole month. But where are we at? Right, so this is about halfway. This is the 15th of September, so we're halfway through the month here. So the first half of the month has been quite good. But I think we all know how the second half of the month goes. And total profit of $785. So 0.75% profit for the whole month. So that was really good first half, just a really bad second half. But in my opinion, if a bad month still shows any profit at all, then it's not too bad at all. But I'll save the best for last. If I can find it, I've got too many pairs here at the moment. Yeah, gold against the US dollar. Spread 15. Load up my settings for gold. I'll have a quick squeeze through them. 1% risk per trade. I've been alternating between a 1,000 and an 800 take profit. Um, but anywhere between there is much the same. And all my other settings are going to be the same as the set file. I'm not sure if the set file's got 800 or 1,000 on it here, but I've been using both. Everything else will be the same. Initial trade based off the 5-minute breakout, stack trades off the 1 minute, and we're using a 15-minute trend filter. But let's go. This should be the best one. There we go. You can see, there was even though this was the best pair for the month, it's still going, but there's a pretty bad run just here in the middle. But at no stage in the course of the whole month has it dropped below the starting balance. So, it made made 6.5%, and then it lost basically 5% down there. But we're still in $1,200 profit at the slow point here. So they're just factors that I look for when I'm doing back testing to try and get pairs and settings that give a good average result. And by a good average result, I mean mostly profits and not too many bad runs like that. But this bad run here was more than made up for this good run. So, we lost 5% there, but that run up, we made about 12%. But anyway, that's the results, which works out at 12.2% for the month. My own actual results were only around about 10%. Anyway, that's sort of all I wanted to go through. I just wanted to show people that those particular settings gave those particular results. Go through a little bit on how to backtest, how to get that historical data, things to be aware of the spreads and all of that. And yeah, like I said at the start of the video, make sure you actually subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you do get those notifications, specifically for when I add a video to the Volatility Master playlist. All right, guys, thanks for having a look. I'll talk to you later.